The Greentown Public Library presents Craftin It, part of the Imagine Your Story summer reading program.
Hi everyone, Kim here. We're here today to do Craftin It. And today we're going to make these great little photo blocks. They're great for Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, anything like that. And there's a couple different ways that you can do that. So these are simple, easy to do, and inexpensive. So let's get started. In your bag you should have a block of wood, and you should also have a piece of sandpaper. If for some reason you don't have sandpaper, you lose it, whatever, you can just use a fingernail file and make sure you sand the edges down really well. And then any rough spots, this was a rough nick in the wood, you can go ahead and just file that down, sand it down. We don't want anyone getting splinters, so go ahead and smooth that out and get that as smooth as you like. Then I want you to go ahead and paint it any color you'd like. It may take 2 coats, but you can paint it any color you like. I have actually painted my block brown. It goes really well with the picture that I'm going to put in there. I know that I have used this one to make look like a baseball. You can also make it look like a football, baseball, basketball, volleyball, anything like that if you want more of a sporty theme. This one happens to be a pet-related photo block, and it's a little more rustic. I use some sandpaper to kind of rough up the picture. So once your paint is dry and you've got your block already finished, you can also use a hairdryer or a heat gun to speed up the process if you don't want to wait. We're going to go ahead and decide which side of the block we want to use. This side had a rough spot on it, so I'm going to turn it over and use this side. It's a lot smoother. And I'm just going to cut out the picture that I want to put on there. The picture is printed on just regular paper. I don't have any special paper. I just used the regular printer that I had at home. You can use whatever pictures you'd like. It can be a word, it can be a phrase, it can be a Bible verse, anything like that that you want to put on your block. It doesn't have to be a photo. And I just want to make sure that I get everything trimmed. So I trimmed off the white part and just have my picture left. I'm going to go ahead and decide where I want to position it on here. Now with this picture, because it is just regular paper, I'm going to put some a glue finish over the top. We happen to have Mod Podge. It's fine if you want to use that. If you don't have that available, any kind of a thinned school glue, just watered down school glue, you can use, and that will make a nice finish and dry clear. This one happens to be the one that I used with the Mod Podge, so it's something that I cannot take off. I can't switch out from year to year. So it's kind of, you need to decide what it is you want to do or how you want your finished product to look. The sports one, on the other hand, that I did, I tied some trim at the bottom. That way I'm able to just slide in a photo, especially if you're doing sports theme and you want to change out from year to year. So you can switch out pictures fairly easily. So I'm going to decide where I want to put this. I think I'll put it towards the top and leave a little more at the bottom. That way I can get my trim on there. If you don't want trim, don't feel like you have to put it on there. I'm going to go ahead and get my glue, and I'm going to put a base coat on the bottom. I happen to have a gloss. You can also get it in satin so it doesn't have that shiny finish. And just brush all the way across the whole thing. If you have a glossy finish, you might want to cover the entire thing just so it looks like it's finished. Even though you're not putting picture down here towards the bottom, you want to make sure it has a nice finish. Okay. Get that centered and straight as possible. Most of you who know me know I don't really measure, and I'm not really OCD. So I don't, I just kind of eyeball it. That's entirely up to you. So once I get that in place, I get my picture on there, get it fairly smooth, I'm gonna go ahead and put one more coat over the top, and this will just glue it in place. Make sure you get the edges so it seals down all the edges of your paper. You can use regular photos for this. You don't have to print it on paper, but just make sure that you get a good seal when you're putting it on. Sometimes the paper tends to bubble up a little bit, so you want to make sure that you smooth it out. And when I'm finished, sometimes I have to push it down with my brush to get a good seal. But when I'm finished, I want to go back and make sure that I have glue going in the same direction. Alright, then we'll let that dry. Again, you can use a heat gun or you can use a hair dryer to make that dry a little bit faster. Once your glue is dry, then we are ready to apply the embellishments. And I have a lot of different embellishments here, different types that you can use. I have some buttons, some are specific shapes, some are just regular buttons. I've got sequins, rubber stamps if you want to stamp on a word or a name. I've got beads, paper crafts that you can use. And I also have this is a mini ornament that I purchased at one of the craft stores, and you can use something like that as an embellishment as well. I'm going to go ahead and just use ribbon. I believe you have some trim of some kind in your bag. Feel free to use it, or you can use something else that you have at home. And I'm just going to look to see where I want to place it, which direction I want to go. This is a pretty thin ribbon. So it may take a couple of layers so that you can see it better. I'm going to start it, because I'm going to put a bow on it, I'm going to start it where I'm going to place my bow so that you can't see the end of it. And I'm just going to use some craft glue to get that in place. This will hold it in place until it's dry. You can also use hot glue if you'd like. Once I get to the end where I like it, I've gone around enough times, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Now I've already made a bow based on the colors that are in the photo. And I'm going to go ahead and place that right about there, covering up that spot of glue and the edge of the ribbon, but trying not to get it in her face or cover up any part of the picture. Okay. And I think I'll go ahead and put some sequins on here, just because there are sequins in her crown, or rhinestones in her crown. I'm going to just glue those in place as well. Remember that the Elmer's or craft glue should be able to dry clear. Sometimes if you have big clumsy fingers like mine, you need to use some tweezers to help get it in place. And I like to use an uneven number of items. I don't really know why. It's a little more pleasing to the eye. Alright, this is my third one. I'm going to go ahead and put that in place. And I'm all set. I'm going to make sure that bow stays in place. I'm going to leave it dry flat until all the glue is dry, but you will have your nice photo block to give as a gift or keep for yourself. So I hope you had fun and enjoyed our craft. So join us again for another fun craft in August. Thanks. Have a great day.